Everything is political is probably a phrase that you've heard before. And it was the primary spear that the woke used in order to corrupt and co opt entertainment. You gotta understand what they mean by this, and once you actually realize what they're trying to achieve, it's incredibly creepy and unsettling. So I will do my best in this video to tackle this important issue. Now, here you have an example where a person says, it's like, what's political about this advertisement? That it shows a girl eating a burger. To which the leftist says, well, all art is political because this shows bland consumerism. So in other words, they're using the word political and they're playing language games. They're not trying to understand the actual meaning behind your words, what you're trying to express. Instead, they're taking like the literal definition of the word. So in this case, they're using political in the most broadest interpretation so that they can justify inserting politics in the most narrow interpretation, such as here.
Gonna tell the police you kidnapped me.
Nice try. But I know who you are and what you did in Seattle. I saw it in the paper. Maybe I should call ICE to make sure you're a citizen.
You hillbilly. I'm American.
Watch it, punk.
Whatever. You're going to jail for this.
Pretty sure the local police will vouch for me over a thug like you.
Where's my brother?
Wish I knew. Little took off. I'll find him. Don't worry.
If you touch him...
You think I'd hurt a little boy? Guess you didn't have any second thoughts about leading him out into the middle of nowhere, though. That's real safe for a little kid. If he's lucky, he won't end up like his criminal big brother.
Just let me go. Please.
You're the reason we need to build that wall.
So the difference between the first ad, which is a girl eating a burger, it doesn't really talk about consumerism necessarily. It's just like a girl that's having a meal. And this doesn't necessarily need to happen in a capitalist country. It can happen in Saudi Arabia, which is a theocratic kingdom. It could have happened in the past, since the burger was invented. It's not necessarily tied to an economic system. And it's also an inclusive commercial. Like, it's not supposed to offend anyone. Like, no one is looking at this commercial and is getting like, well, what on earth were they trying to accomplish, right? No one is being offended or having their nose wrinkled because they're seeing this cute girl eating a burger. However, the video game that we saw earlier is incredibly exclusive. Like, it is a clear jab at the Republicans. The writer is using the characters as VTubers, as sock puppets, in order to try to say that, well, people who are right-wing are inherently violent and they're racist and they would even hurt children. So as you can see, and they're using the language of Donald Trump, which is tied to the MAGA movement, in order to represent that. So they're using like the most narrow sense of politics. Well, the way they interpret the word political is tied to the TV show Star Trek. I mean, that's where this philosophy is best represented, which basically says that technology is tied to human thinking. So if we have the correct politics, if we have the correct thinking, and we all behave ethically, and we are all becoming environmentalists, and we're having world peace, and we're doing all these things, then technology starts developing rapidly. We discover the warp drive, and we have replicators, and we now have the world of plenty. In other words, what they are saying is that if you behave with leftist politics in mind, then society progresses, right? And they call themselves progressives. That's why they actually use the term. So what exactly does it mean to be a progressive? What is the mindset? Well, various factions of the movement will focus on different things, which can mean literally whatever they want it to mean. Like, they can focus on equality, they can focus on equity, they can focus on inclusivity, but basically the idea is that as long as everybody thinks like them and everybody behaves like them, then society starts to progress. If you don't behave like them, then you're a reactionary and you're keeping back progress. So how do they manage to convince people to behave like them? So basically what they do is that, unlike the liberals that consider that every single human has a private life and a public life, and as long as he behaves in private in a way that's not hurting others, he should be left alone, and that private life shouldn't be pried into. The progressives don't believe like that. The progressives believe that everything is political, so including your private life needs to be monitored. In other words, all aspects of entertainment, all aspects of human gatherings, all aspects of any type of community requires a progressive ideologue to supervise over that community, to make sure that the community is inclusive, that it is equitable. So, in other words, even something like playing Dungeons and Dragons with your friends, even something like a board game that you purchase from a company and then you take home and you're playing with your friends at the table, even that requires progressive supervision. Like, it requires someone that has been schooled in gender studies and critical theory to sit at the table as you are playing and listen in. And if he ever finds like a joke that's sexist or racist, if he ever finds a remark that he considers offensive, he will take offense on the behalf of the person that was allegedly insulted, and he will exact punishment, which is usually like the ostracization of the person that made the joke. So, in other words, every single aspect of humanity requires progressive dominance. It requires the Stasi, it requires the Commissar, it requires the diversity officer to be there and loom over the other people and make sure that they behave in the progressive manner. Now, once you accomplish that, once this is done at a societal level, you take it to the next step, and then you say, well, it's now the role of the government to supervise all of the human activities. So the government, which up until this point, wasn't necessarily interested and well-versed into like your personal hobbies and your private life, now has to be interested in your private life. Now they have to track what you do in video games, and we get to see this in the United States, that they're now pushing for the Department of Homeland Security and the feds to actually collaborate with video game companies in order to spy on people, to use AI and other form of technology to see what people are talking when they're playing video games. The ADL made that public a couple of weeks ago. So there is this push to get the government now invested into making sure that everything is equitable and everything is inclusive and all sorts of things, including people's bathrooms, right? Like when you go to a bathroom and you have like the men's bathroom and the women's bathroom. No, the government has to crack down and to say, no, you will have either gender neutral bathrooms, or if any person identifies as a woman, you are compelled by law to allow them to go into the women's bathroom, right? Because now it's to the next level. Now again, the government needs to become like an octopus and has its tentacles in every single aspect of your life, in every single avenue of your life. In other words, the progressives, they're forging the ring of power. They are forging the one ring, which can be used to control everything. So once the government has all of this bureaucracy, all of this army that can supervise everyone and make sure that everything you do in your private life is progressive, well, then they want to control the government. And at this point, it's very easy because they have completely destroyed free thinking. They have completely destroyed free speech. If you disagree with them, well, you're a reactionary, right? Because as we mentioned before, the way to progress is only one way, and it's their way. So if you don't think like them, you're a violent psychopath, you're ostracized, you're an atomized individual, right? Because every avenue of society is telling you that this is the correct way of thinking. So if you're a politician that tries to campaign against them, now they have various ways, various tools in order to try and get you fired, deplatformed, debanked, to make sure that you don't get funding for your campaign. So now they have an advantage. So their politicians get to be elected. I mean, look at Germany, for instance. If you have a party that says, well, maybe we had enough immigration for a while. Maybe we should just integrate the people that came in. And, well, that party is now heavily suppressed, and the entire legal apparatus that they can use is being to target that party. And on top of that, they also say that, well, can we not make this party illegal? Can we not disband it, right? Because that party is not on board with the message. So again, to finalize the conclusion, for normal people, when they're looking at a girl eating a burger, they do not view this as a political ad. They just view it as Burger King trying to advertise burgers. But for a progressive, they view this as an opportunity to inject their politics. And if this doesn't have their politics, then they need to co-opt it so that they make sure it does. So their ad, for instance, would require a fat woman to promote fat acceptance, or a person of color to promote representation and inclusion. Like whatever it does, it needs to have like a progressive message tied into it. You can't just have a girl eating a burger, because this is nothing to do with progressivism. It doesn't have their message, so it's not good, right? And this is why the person says it's bland consumerism. If you had an actual lesbian couple there in a wheelchair, you know, eating a burger, then the communist in question wouldn't say that it's blatant consumerism. They will say, wow, no, this is a good ad. This is, you know, natural. It's normal. Congratulations for the company for doing the right thing. It's an inclusive ad, right? Notice that this is how they think. So this is why they find ads offensive. Like anything that doesn't promote the message, which, right, it used to be equality, but now it's either sustainability or inclusion and diversity. If the ad doesn't promote that, they find it offensive. Their politics not existing is offensive, because their politics are about progress. So if it doesn't exist, then that means reactionary. So we're going in the wrong way. Let me know what you guys think, and hopefully you got something out of this video, and I will see you in the comment section. Take care.